What is up, chefs, foodies, and students? Welcome to Everybody Knows. I'm Anders. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get started. Today we are looking at the ingredient rhubarb. This ingredient originally comes from Greater Asia between China, Mongolia, and Siberia. It is currently well known in Asia, North America, and several European cuisines, but if you're investigating origins and cultures, be sure to research the time period as well, since many foods are brought to cultures from elsewhere or are developed over time. When looking at rhubarb, what we expect to see is a nice healthy stalk. That's the part that we're eating. Do not eat the leaves, they have oxalic acid. You still have to eat a ton to really get sick or die from it, but it's not gonna be pleasant if you eat the leaves. That's why most of the time in the store you will see just about this portion without any leaves to even worry about. But if you grow it, just don't eat the leaves. But the stalk should be nice and firm. It shouldn't have any blemishes. It should be a range of color between reddish, pinkish to green. It's all perfectly edible. Depends on the species as well. It shouldn't be limp or wrinkly. It should be nice and firm and full of water and like it just got picked. When we taste and smell it, we have a unique aroma. There's sort of a funkiness, maybe even a muskiness, but there's something sort of between a vegetative and fruity quality. I'm gonna take a little bit of a chew just to get a little bit more aroma going up into my nose. It's a unique aroma. It's a difficult one to describe. It's a fair split between something that sort of smells more, kind of like a fruit or a berry, and something that smells like a vegetable. The taste of this is actually kind of overwhelming, especially raw. It's just very, very sour or acidic. And so with that, it has often been paired with fruits more so than other savory dishes, although it does happen. And so I think a lot of the associations we have with this lends towards the fruitiness. But again, that aroma is very unique, and we'll see in a second on the aroma wheel that it doesn't have a ton of contemporaries to sort of compare or group it with. That being said, let's have a look at the aroma wheel. So if we look at where rhubarb currently is on the aroma wheel, it is actually currently in fruity. So if we look up here, we see that we have a crispy tree fruit category, and then within that we have a vegetative category, which then has a few different items in it, ingredients. One of them is rhubarb, and some of the contemporaries are the roselle, which sort of has that same fruitiness, vegetativeness, sour sort of profile. And so that's where it's currently listed. It is not a crispy tree fruit. I understand. This might actually have been an error. I'm not sure. I feel like the vegetative category can continue all the way in towards fruity. I don't think we need the crispy tree fruit to cut it off there. I think crispy tree fruit can contain pomegranate, and so segmented and fleshy would exist underneath crispy tree fruit, but I think vegetative, I think it would deserve to go all the way to fruity. Now, I hear you already. The people who are like, it shouldn't be in fruity. I understand. Let's take a quick look at vegetative, because if we were to put rhubarb in vegetative, and I'm gonna give it another chew just to confirm here. That aroma on its own is so hard to describe. It's not the telluric or meaty categories. I wouldn't put it in floral. I would say more herbaceous. I would say maybe within the aromatic and herbal area. I don't know. It's not that strong. It's a muted flavor, aroma. I could see it maybe going in towards citrusy. I could see it maybe being between the aromatic herbal and fresh categories, like somewhere near celery. It doesn't smell like celery. It could be maybe in the watery category. Otherwise, it's not peppery. It doesn't have that characteristic. So yeah, it would be somewhere between this citrusy category and somewhere between leafy green, but I don't know. And I don't know if it fits there better than it does over in fruity. So let the debate commence. Throw something in the comments. I would love to get some feedback on this one because it's a weird one. This is one of the weirdest ones, I think, because it sort of straddles this fruity vegetative existence. Okay, so to evaluate rhubarb, we've kind of said everything that's already needed to be said. One thing to reiterate is just its association at this point with fruit rather than vegetables, and so our brains, at least in the United States today, our brains push it towards fruity. But eat it on its own, see what you think. I would try a little bit raw so you can get that pure aroma. I would try cooking it without sugar. I would try pickling it. I have before. It's turned out really nice, actually. So there are some things that I recommend to sort of break out of that conception. And I think when you cook it, the acidity mellows a little bit, especially as you add sugar. It really starts to take on more of those like fruity category aromas over the vegetative ones. Let's have a quick look at the flavor Bible. Okay, for rhubarb, it mentions spring to summer. That is the season. It is almost impossible to get it out of season unless you buy it frozen, which, fine. It mentions almonds, apples, baked goods, berries, cardamom, cheese, cinnamon, cloves, desserts, ginger, honey, orange, strawberries, sugar, vanilla, and yogurt. And I will say that all of the dishes mentioned in this category in this book, sorbet, gelato, sorbet, pie, sorbet, and sorbet. So unless they're going with savory sorbets, it generally doesn't get used much in a savory context. So if you're going to pair ingredients with rhubarb, those are a good place to start. And that about wraps it up. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about rhubarb as you eat or cook, and as well as the words that we use to describe it. Have you ever used this ingredient to make something that you were like, yeah, that was amazing. I want to know what that thing was. Do you agree or disagree with what I've shared with you today, especially about the aroma wheel part? And what ingredient should we look at next? Any of the answers to those questions, throw them in the comments. I would love to read them. I hope this video made sense and got you thinking a little bit about the aroma of rhubarb. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to help get an ingredient to feature in a video, please send me an email or a private message. If you would like to join the food aroma nerdery, feel free to subscribe and you'll see all my latest vids. And if you would like a large poster or digital version of the aroma wheel that we use, have a look in the description for links. Thanks so much. Bye.